Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel Oracle DBA Online Training. So in this tutorial, we will be looking at how you can perform the database patching, or you can say RAC database patching, when we have two node primary database and two node standby database. Okay, both are RAC setup. So we'll be applying the patch that is the latest July quarter patch that has been released for 19C database, that is 19.16. So we'll be applying those patches on my existing 19.12 setups. This will be going to be the step by step, so you have to just watch entire video so that you'll easily understand the entire process. Before we can start this tutorial, I'll request all the new friends to please do subscribe our YouTube channel. We are already recently reached to the 6,000 milestone. I'm very thankful for all the subscribers. And regarding our latest course that we have published, Oracle DB Ultimate Full Course, you can enroll this course by only paying 5,000 rupees. And recently we have given this facility for all our viewers that you can purchase our ready-made virtual rack setups that you can use. You can basically download and start using it. Okay, if you are interested about these things, you can always touch me on the given contact details over here. Apart from this, if you guys face any challenge with respect to the videos that I have already uploaded, you can always give me your thoughts on this email ID, and so you can reach me on contact numbers given over here. Also, I'll be requesting all the subscribers and non-subscribers, please do follow our LinkedIn page and also other social media platforms. Okay, so this is about the commercial. Let's start today's agenda, like how we can perform the patching on 19.12 RAC setup. So we have already downloaded the patch. So this is the step that you can follow for downloading the patch. The patch ID I'll provide in the description. You can go through it. It's a 19.16 patch, which is recently release date is around like 20 July. And this patch basically our system is based on Linux operating system. So we have selected this operating system, and we already downloaded this patch. Okay, so once I download the patch, since if you go through the README document of this particular patch, so always you follow the README documents. In the README document, you'll come to know like what is the minimum patch utility required in order to apply these patches. So we have identified that this patch is required. patch utility version should be matching with at least ending with 1.28. Okay, so we are already downloaded latest patch utility, which is the 1.32. If you see these numbers, okay, it's called patch utility that is used to apply the patch. So we have already downloaded this patch utility also. So these things already we downloaded and kept on the server. Okay, so before I can start this tutorial, let me show you. These are the two primary node rack setup. These are the two standby node setups. So so this is about like these are the nodes, and this is how we have downloaded a patch. If you are not able to understand like how you can explore these patches and how you can download, you can follow the previous uploaded tutorial where I have given entire detail, like step by step guidance how you can download any patch from the Oracle support. So this is about the patch download, and after this we have like if you can go through this readme document, it says like there are few patches that is applicable for the database home, like few patches are applicable for the grid home. So I mean all these 5 patches are applicable to both, like only grid homes, and there are 2 patches which is only applicable for the database home as well as the grid home. Okay, so in order to apply the patches on rack setups, we have 2 methods. One is called the manual method, other one is like patch auto method. So we have already covered those topics in our previous tutorial. If you want, you can just go through like so in today's session I'll be just going through the manual method. Okay, how you can perform the patching using the manual method. So we already downloaded this patch, we already transferred the patch, and these are the patches that is applicable for the grid home, and these 2 patches are applicable for the database. Since this particular patch is called the GI patch, that means it is a grid infrastructure based patch that is applicable for both database home as well as a you can say grid infrastructure. Okay, so this is already written on the top. So without wasting much time, let's start today's topics, that is how you can apply the patches. So in my case, my database is already running with 19.12 version. If you see here, This is the two node primary setup that is running as a prod 1, prod 2. And these are the two node standby database, which is running with the two node uh, standby setups like STPY1, STPY2. Okay. Before we can start, let's verify the existing patch details. So we have like OPatch version here. So OPatch version is currently 1.28. So we can upgrade this OPatch utility. Let me just go through the README document. It's what it says. Let's verify that also. So it says OPatch utility version should be 1.3. That means we have to download the latest OPatch utility by checking this particular support nodes. Okay, so we have referred that and we already downloaded 19 point, the OPatch utility which is ending with 1.32. It is not 30, it's a 32. Okay, so we already downloaded that OPatch utility. We will be updating that OPatch utility under the grid home as well as a database home on both production as well as a standby setups. So next question is, what is the existing patch that we have? So we can run the opatch ls patches command to verify the existing patch details. Same can be run across standby database also. And as a thumb rule, whenever you will be applying the patches on the primary setups, you also have to apply the same patch on the standby setup. So this is my database home, which already have the 19.12 patch running. Okay. And same thing we have verified on the standby database also. So we can just verify this across all the nodes. Like if you have two node setups, you can check this on the secondary nodes also, on the tertiary nodes also. Likewise, okay. And let's come back to the grid home and let's verify the same thing for the grid user also. So let's run the same command, opatch ls patches. So this is also 19.12 patch. Okay. Apart from this, we can verify the same thing on the grid home also. So without wasting much time, let's verify what is the, so I already transfer these patches on the server across all the nodes. So these are the two patches. So one is opatch utility, other one is a patch. So we need to copy this opatch utility under the grid home first. So grid home is my 001 app grid 19.c grid home. Okay. And same thing we need to copy under, sorry, this is already there. So since we have transferred this file here, we need to go to this particular path. Okay, we need to remove the existing opatch utility, unzip this particular file here. Since we are running from the root user, we need to modify the opatch version there. Okay, so what we can do here, we can run the command chon -r. So be careful while running this command. Okay, so this will be the opatch directory. So now if I'll go to the grid user and I'll run the opatch version, it should show me the latest opatch utility. So now we have the latest opatch version on 1.32. Similarly, we have to do the same thing on the grid home also, sorry, database home also. So what I'll do, I'll just go to the patch location first, ls-lrts. Okay. From this location, I'm going to copy the opatch utility under the database home. So in case database home is Oracle, I'll copy the patch from this particular location. Not patch, this is basically opatch utility. We'll copy under the U02 app Oracle product 19c DB home. Okay. So once we copy, we need to unzip this also, but before unzipping, we have to remove the existing patch. So once we unzip this, we can re-verify the latest opatch version. So same thing we have to do across all the nodes. Like if you have second node, third node. So we will do that later. Before that, we can start the patching on the first node. Okay. So this is the patch we have. We need to unzip this patch from the grid user basically. U01 latest patch. So as soon as this particular patch is unzipped, let's start the patching. So in the patching, there are few things that is called the pre-checks. And later we have, we need to bring down the database. So in our case, the database name will be different. It should be broad here. So I'll mention like prod. And also we need to verify the existing patch details. So we already covered up all these things. I'll not go into the deeper. Directly we will start the patching from this point. Like we can just start with the verification of conflict check. From the grid home, we have to run the conflict check. So by referring the Oracle home, you can basically perform the pre-checks. Sorry, by referring the grid home, we have to run the pre-checks. Okay, so it will check the whether there is a conflict or conflict exists or not. So these are the main release update patch. Within that, we have the 5 patches for the grid home and 2 patches for the database home. So we will be checking these conflicts, and later we will be doing the space check for the grid home as well as the space check for the database home, and then we can start applying those patches. But before we apply the patch, first we need to stop the database in rolling fashion. So in RAC database, there is an advantage. You can basically perform the patching by node by node. So this is a node by node patching steps. So I'm going to start the patching on the first production, prod 1 setup, and later prod 2, and then we'll go with the standby 1 and standby 2. So we have to stop first grid infrastructure by running the root crs .sh minus pre-patch. Okay. So this command is basically what it does. It unlocks the GI infrastructure as a from the root user. We need to run it. Okay. And apart from this, we also have to apply the patch from the grid user, and then we have to verify the patches. And later we have to basically run the pre-patch command from the for the database, and then we have to apply those two database patches, and then we have to run the if you have OGVM patch, you can basically apply those OGVM patches also, and then you can verify the patches. And later we have to run the post patch script. So this location I need to update because it is the old version patch related stuffs. And lastly, we have to start the database also. Okay, so wherever you have run the stop command, you have to run the start command also. And lastly, you need to verify everything once the patch is completed. So this way we have to perform the patching on the first, let's say prod 1, then prod 2, and then standby 1, standby 2. And at the end of all these commands, we have to run the data patch verbose command, which is the last step in the patching, which is called the SQL patching basically. So far we have performed the binary level patches in these steps, and here we'll be doing the SQL level patch. Okay, so this is about how we have to perform the patching. So I'll start from this point and then we'll go one by one. Okay, so we have to do the conflict check. So I hope this patch is unzip already. Let me just re-verify. Let's go to the 3.4, this particular patch. Okay, so we have this patch. So let me locate it, patch. So basically now we have identified the post patch location. So in the same location, you'll find out pre-patch and post patch locations. So we need to copy this path and update in the file which we are going to use later. So before you have to apply the database patches, you have to make sure that these pre-patch and post-patch locations are correct. Otherwise, you'll face the issue. So we have just copied the latest path here. And same thing we have to do here also for the post-patch script also. So we updated all these steps. Coming back to the steps that we have to basically follow for today's patching, first thing is we have to verify the patch conflict. So this is from the grid home patch, we need to go. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll execute the commands to verify the. So you can copy whole patches again and paste it in the, all the commands together, and you can paste it in the command prompt. So we have the first patch patch verification, second patch verification. So same way it will verify all the patches. And if there is no conflict, then we can proceed for the patching activity. So this is about how we have to perform the conflict check. Similarly, we have to do the conflict check for the database home. So now we don't see any error message over here. That means this conflict is getting passed. This is also done. This is also done. Next one is also done. So, so basically, there is no conflict at all at this point in time. If you face any conflict, you can basically raise those issues with Oracle support, and you can basically perform. I mean, you can raise and you can apply those merge patches if required. Similarly, we have to verify the conflict check for the database patches also, and later we have to create one file under database home as well as under the grid home, and these will contain the patch list for space check. Okay, because there is a command which will verify whether there is sufficient space available or not for applying the patches. Okay, so we'll verify that as well one by one. So quickly we will verify the patches, and there is no conflict at all. So I'm going to create one file which will contain the patch list so that we can verify the space check. And these are the two patch location that we need to verify here. Let's paste this location and save the file, and then we have to run the command that we need to verify, using which we can verify the space check. So this is the command that will verify the space check. It says like the patch utility, the prerequisite check the system space, and this is the location of the file that we just now created. Same way we have to do the same thing for the grid home also. And using the grid user, we have to create one file at any temporary location which will have all the patch location, and then we can perform the space check. So system space check is passed usually. This is for Oracle database user. Same way we have to do the for the grid user also. So I'm going to run the temp command. I mean this one. We need to create the temp file which will contain the patch location for grid patches. So I'll save this file, and then I'll go to the next command. Check the system space. After this, we have to bring down the first production database. Okay. I'll copy the command to stop the database. So there is a command called service util stop home. Any database running from this particular home will be stopped, and this is the log file which is created. This is the host name. So I'll use the same command to stop the database. I'll log in as Oracle user. I'll execute this command, so it will bring down the database on this node. Okay. Okay, so the database is down. Let's re-verify the database detail if you want, just on. So nothing is running from the apart from the ASM instance. Okay, so next part is we have to basically bring down the cluster. So in order to bring down the cluster and unlock the GI stack, so you need to run the command from the root user. Okay, so what it will do, it will stop the CRS on this node, and after that it will unlock it. Okay, so within a few seconds, or you can say few minutes of time, this operation will be over, and then we can perform the patching on the grid home, and then we can do the patching on the database home. Okay, we are going to do the patching using the silent method so that it will not ask any inputs. So while applying the patch, it will auto take the value as a yes, that for the patching. Okay, so this is going to be our command that for the database for the grid patching, and same way we have to do the patching for the database. So let's so currently if you see the cluster state is saying normal. During the patching using the rolling patch, it will show the rolling patch status. Once both the nodes are patched on the primary, it will become normal again. So we'll go through all those details. As of now, this is showing as a normal state. So since we haven't started the patch across all the nodes are same. That's why it is showing as a normal state. Okay, so now our GI stack is down and it is already unlocked. You can just verify status. So as of now, nothing is running. So I'll directly switch to the grid user. From the grid user, we have to start applying those patches. Okay. So since OPatch location is already set, grid home is already set, so we directly have to run the first patch command. Okay. So during the patching, you can verify the log also by running the tail commands. Okay. So so we have started this patching. It will take some time. So during the patching, I'll be on mute, and maybe the video will be forward later. Okay. So now the first patch is successfully applied. If you want, we can verify it by running the opatch ls patches command. Okay, so opatch ls patches. With this command, we can verify the latest patch detail. And apart from this, we can also run the next patching command to verify and apply the patch. So if you see here, we can see 19.16, it's a database release update. That patch is successfully applied, and then we will proceed with the other four patches. Okay, so quickly we'll finish this patching on the grid home, then we can proceed on the database home. And the same thing we have to do across all the setups. So now the patches are applied. Let's re-verify the patch that is applied here by running the opatch ls patches, or you can also we can run the command called opatch ls patches. Sorry, opatch ls inventory pipe grep applied. So this command will give you the output of the date and time when it got applied, as well as it will give the list of the patches. So both the way we can verify the detail about the patch. After doing the grid patching, then we have to do the database patching by logging to the database user. Okay, so These are the two patches that we need to apply in the database home. So I'll copy both the commands together and then I'm going to run. Before I have to run this thing, we need to basically execute the pre-patch command from the database user. So this file is already present. Let's run the command. This is completed. After the pre-patch execution, we have to run both the patching in commands on the database home. So this will apply the database home, database release update patch on the database home. And after this, we can proceed further. If there is any OJVM patches there or like one of the patches or the merge patch, so those patches also we can apply by running this patch. Similar command of opatch apply command and then the home location and the location of the patch. So I've given here the syntax that you can use, but as of now, I don't have any OJVM patch which I want to apply on the database home. So I'm skipping the step number 13. Then we can proceed with the step number 14 to verify. So meanwhile, this patching gets complete. It will take some time. So quickly we'll wait for a few minutes more. Okay. So now the patches are applied on the database home. We can just verify the database patch details. So this is sorry, no patch, less patches, not the version. Now also we can verify this command to verify the when it got applied. This is done. Lastly, we have one more thing we need to run like post patch command. Then we have to start the CRS status. Post patch execution completed. Then we need to run the root scripts from the root user. The first script is done. Then next one is a root CRS minus post patch command, which will start the cluster. Okay, so it will start the grid infrastructure on the first node, that is a prod one, so that we can proceed for the next node patching, that is a node 2, that is prod 2 patch. Okay, so for prod 2 patching, we have to first complete the patching on the first node. That means we need to run the post patch command from the root user. It's this particular script is called root crs.sh. It will do the locking of this particular node into the grid infrastructure, and also it will start the grid services. Okay, this command will take few minutes of time to start, and after that we need to start the database the same way we have stopped the database using the same similar commands. We have to so the root start service is still running. We can verify the logs also during this time. So it is starting the CRS services. You can see the alert log. So the grid infrastructure started successfully, and we can see the status of the patch is rolling patch. Since the patch, there is a patch difference now on the first and second node, because first node is 1960 and second node still on the 19.12. There is a patch difference. Because of that, we are getting this message, a rolling patch. Okay, and so we need to proceed. We can just verify the status of the grid infrastructure by running the pmon command. So ASM started, that means grid is started on this node, and we need to start the database from logging to the Oracle user. Okay, so I'll log in to Oracle user. start the database. After starting the database, then we have to do the same things on the same approach on the second node, that is a prod 2 server for the patching. And once the patching on the production side, I mean, prod setups are completed, you can do the patching on the standby setups like standby 1, standby 2. So during the standby patching, you have to basically take care about this MRP process. So during the time of patching, you can basically shift the MRP process from first node to second node and second node to first node and vice versa. Okay. So this is how we have to perform the patching whenever we have the two node rack with the two node primary database with two node standby database. I hope you are able to understand this much concepts. So before I can proceed further, I'll be giving some more detail about my course. So recently we have launched this course, which is called Oracle DBA Ultimate Full Course. This course you can get it at only 5,000 rupees. It has different topics that has been covered in details. For example, Oracle DBA Basics, Oracle DBA. This is a core DBA basically. Oracle 4 DBA segments that has been covered here. Oracle RAC DBA, Oracle Data Guard, patching and upgrade. So in the upgrade, you will be understanding single instance database upgrade, RAC database upgrade. So everything has been covered in details, backup and recovery, performance tuning and golden gate. So all the advanced topics is also covered within this 5,000 course. You can get it by just one call away. Okay. And this course is lifetime access. So you can basically enroll it one time. You can download it many times. And also there is one more benefit you'll be getting all the practice materials, study materials and software. Okay. So you can take the advantage of this course. So coming back to the database patching part again. So this is the database that we have started just now. And if I'll run the SQLPLUS -v command, you'll find out the version of patch is changed to 19.16. But if we are running the same command on the second node, you'll find out the version as 19.12. That means patch on the second node still on the lower side. So again, we have to perform the patching on the second node also with the same approach. I'm going to quickly apply the patches on the second node and then standby 1, standby 2. And lastly, we will be discussing how we have to run the data patch for those commands. So let me finish all these commands quickly, and then we can proceed for the data patch command. So this will take like 30-40 minutes depending upon the system speeds. Okay. So let me finish this, and during this patching, I'll keep the recording on pause. Okay. So because we are already understood like what are the process that we need to follow, so there is no need to repeat the same thing and again and again. Okay. So I'll quickly cover up all these steps, and then we can go for the data patch verbose command at the end. This is our second node. Okay, I already have the patch in place. So first thing we have to take care about the opatch utility. So if I'll go to the second node and I'll run the opatch version. So it is still showing me the old version, that is 1.28. So we need to update that. For updating that, we need to copy the opatch utility under database home location, like 36888 under U02 app data, product. So once we copy this, same thing we have to copy under the grid home also. I'll copy this under grid home like U01 app 19C grid home. Okay. So in the database home, I need to just modify the ownership because on Oracle colon no install for P688. Okay. And so we will switch to the Oracle user and we'll modify the patch location. So before we modify rm-rf opatch utility, and then we need to run the unzip command for the patch unzip, opatch utility unzipping. So this is over. Now if I'll re-execute the opatch version command, it will show the latest version. So it is ending with 1.32 and this version is updated. Similarly, we have to go to the grid home and then we need to modify that as well. So U01 app 19C grid home. So for grid home, you need to be logged in as an Oracle user, otherwise you'll not be able to unzip it. So once you unzip this, then we have to modify the permission. So ch on Oracle, sorry, grid colon o install, grid colon o install, then this is a patch for patch utility. But it should be done in the recursive fashion because it has multiple subfiles. So we have to do it and we can verify the version using the opatch version. So quickly, I'll apply those patches on the grid home and then database home. And during the once the patch is applied on the second node, that is prod 2, I'll quickly show you the outputs. Meanwhile, I'll keep the video on the pause. So now we have applied the patches across all the servers. For example, we have this prod 1. Here we have already applied the patch. This is our second node. That there also we have applied the patch. This is our third node. I mean, standby 1, setup 1. This 19.16 patch is applied. And lastly, we have the standby 2. So all the nodes are patched and we have started the databases also, and this is recovery is also started on the standby database. And this is our 2 node production setup. So after doing all these things, at the end, we have to run the data patch verbose. But before I'll run the data patch verbose command, I'll show you the existing database details. So as of now, if you see, this is having 19.12 patch release here as per the DBA underscore registry history view. So this particular view, we can see 19.12, it is indicating. So next part we have to do is a data patch verbose. So once we apply the data patch verbose command, it should be get updated at the SQL level also. So what I'll do, I'll connect it to the production prod 1 setup, and from there I executed data patch verbose command. As soon as it get completed, after that we will re-verify that output that we previously saw, and we can compare the same. Okay. So this is our standby database, which is running read only with apply. And also we can just verify the same output from the standby setup also before this get applied on the production. Okay. So as of now, this is also showing 19.12. And this is where the data patch verbose is getting applied on the primary database setup. So within few minutes, or maybe it depends upon the database size, this will take some time. So once it is get completed, after that we will re-verify this output. And finally, we can conclude our this session, like how we can do the database patching on RAC setup. So now the data patch verbose is completed. After like 15-20 minutes, it will get completed. So now we can just verify the database detail, and internally also we'll verify all the components. And if required, we'll run the UTL-RP also. So in order to verify, we'll re-execute the same command that we previously executed. And here we can verify the details, like it is applied, patch applied from 19.12 to 19.16. The same thing can be verified on the standby also. I think standby it is not replicated. So let's try to do some log switching, alter system switch log file, do like 2 to 3 times, and then we can just come over and verify the details. Okay. If the recovery is happening in real time, it should be reflected here. But right now, I think it is not. Let me verify. MRP is running. We need to perform the system archive log current so that it can send those archive log to the standby and we can verify the status. So it will take some time to get applied those sequence here, and then it will reflect on the standby also. So as of now, we can see on the primary, it's reflecting properly, and we can say that our patching is successfully completed on the primary. And as of now, we can see there are invalid objects also. So we need to do the UTL-RP execution by running the rdbms admin /UTL-RP. and then we can just wait for a few minutes more. So on the standby database, the changes are getting applied. Basically, it will take some time to get those details also. Because if you see the output here, it says like, yeah, so now we can see 19.12 price. It is not yet updated, but it will get updated very soon. So if you see the first section, it says RDBMS patch 19.16. It is on the standby. And this second segment is not updated yet. It will update very soon. Okay. So as soon as those archive will get applied, it will have all the details. So this is how we have to perform the RAC database patching. I hope you have understood all this concept, how to perform the RAC patching where two node primary and two node standby. We have successfully completed this task for today's patching from 19.12 to 19.16. If you have any queries with respect to this tutorial, you can write me an email. Also, you can connect me on this given numbers for any kind of Oracle DBA training. And if you want any kind of training or support for your environment, you can get in touch with me. Please do subscribe our channel if you are interested about our course. Please call me on the same number so you can enroll this course within 2 minutes of time. This is the best selling course as of now. So with this, I'll say thanks for everyone joining this class. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.